we talked about some of the scientific miracles and the scientific evidences of the Holy Quran that was discovered, which corresponded with what the Holy Quran had to say. Today, I'm going to talk to you on the first part of the khutbah about some of the mathematical miracles of the Holy Quran that science is actually dazed about and is unable to answer at this time. As you all probably know, the scientists, mathematicians, arithmetics, physicists, all alike, they all consider mathematics to be universal language. Hence, he or she who knows mathematics knows universal language. On the other hand, mathematicians, arithmetics, and scientists throughout the history have been impressed and have been overwhelmed by the discoveries that Muslims made in the field of algebra, algorithm, geography, mathematics. One of the most important factors is that these findings that were made by the Muslims, which is algebra, algorithm, geometry, and so forth and so on, these are the discoveries that Muslims made and which it actually has changed our world to be what it is today. In fact, all the devices that you all have in your pockets, the Androids, all these phones, this mobile phone, PCs, everything that you carry today, remember one thing. Hundreds of years ago, it was the Muslims who actually discovered the algorithms that are embedded in your phone, the engineering that's gone into it, the blueprint that all gone into it. What you see is what has resurfaced. The application that you're able to see that has surfaced today has to do with what the Muslims did in the past by the grace of Almighty Allah. But are we giving any credit for that? Not that much. We're not giving much credit for those things. Now, as you probably know, mathematics actually ignited the European Renaissance in the 1400s, thanks to the Muslim discoveries. Okay? It ignited the European Renaissance in the 1400s that lasted up to 1600 for about 200 years. And literature and art and information of that period is still very admirable today to many people. So as you can see, mathematics has played a very important role in Islam. On the other hand, mathematicians and arithmetics, including scientists, are all breathless about some of the scientific and mathematical discoveries of the Holy Quran. For example, science, as we know, what composes of a human being is 46 chromosomes that combines a human being. 23 from the mother, 23 from the father. These 23 chromosomes from the dad, 23 chromosomes from the mother becomes 46 chromosomes. It would actually include a human being. Now look at this. The Holy Quran, throughout the entire Quran, the name of man has been mentioned 23 times. The name of woman has also been mentioned 23 times. Isn't that amazing? 23 and 23 makes up 46 chromosomes. How could have an illiterate man who was in Arabia in those days would have known such information? That is a clear indication, a clear sign that this holy book is a divine book given to us by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, just to make it even more juicier, so you know, the planet Earth is also tilted 23 degrees. Isn't that amazing? Probably some of you may have known, or some of you may not know, but you can Google it probably after the Jummah and find out for yourself. So it's interesting to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned all these beautiful numbers in the Holy Quran that we're just beginning to understand it. And science has no explanation for it. They cannot really explain how is it possible that out of 6,236 verses in the Holy Quran, which also includes 114 chapters, how could have the Prophet known such information? So it's really amazing that what we have, you shouldn't really take it for granted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Holy Quran, سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. صدق الله العظيم. All praises due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praises due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Glory be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created all things in pairs, and of what the earth grows, and of themselves, and of the things that they do not know. What a beautiful verse that is talking about the entire creation. Whatever is in the heaven that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in Zawj. On the other hand, so you know, as I mentioned to you, a lot of this information was not available in the older days, so people didn't know these things. It is just recently that this information has been surfaced. So this is a clear indication that the Holy Quran is actually supersedes and is way ahead of its time, and supersedes any imagination or the figment of imagination of any scientists. So it takes a lot of education, a lot of studying to do to really seek that out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the Holy Quran, وَهَذَا ذِكْرٌ مُبَارَكٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ أَفَأَنْتُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we have sent down this blessed revelation. Will you deny it? Another beautiful mathematical discoveries in the Holy Quran. If you look at Surah Al-Baqarah, it has 286 verses, which is chapter 2. If you divide chapter 2 into 286 divided by 2, you get 143. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you read verse 143 in the middle of the Al-Baqarah, what does it say? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet, O Prophet, we have made you into a middle nation. Thus we have made you into a middle nation, that you may be witnesses for mankind, and you, O Prophet, will be witness against your own people. So as you can see, this beautiful verse is talking about telling the Prophet that you are a middle nation. So the great thing about us is that Allah is telling us that we are here for a reason. We're not too far to the right, and we're not too far to the left. We're actually middle nation. So that means we should be moderate people. People of understanding. People who have a lot of sabr, who have a lot of patience, a lot of understanding. They don't crack and get angry really quickly. As strong is he or she who can control their anger. As strong is not he or she who can actually beat somebody up. Just to give you a quick, brief story about being a moderate person. Not to boast about it, but many years ago I used to run a collision center in Carson, California. While I was the manager of that facility, I had 20 people working for me. Every day, my employees used to see me. I go to my office and they watch me doing my prayer. And I used to have a lot of meetings with them and give them a lot of da'wah, if you will. So they started to actually see me. And I remember one day, one of my employees, his name was Carlos, one of my mechanics. He came to the office and said, I want to talk to you. I said, go ahead. He says, you know what? To be honest with you, before I met you, I never knew who Muslims were. All I thought Muslims were what Hannity in Fox News is telling the people. I thought that's who you people are. All I heard is what's on Fox News. But when I met you, it really changed my mind, because I noticed what kind of a person you are. And you're praying every day, you're fair with the employees, you're a very nice person. And he said, I had never seen a businessman like you. So he says, I really admire who you are. I said, don't see what I'm doing, you have to look at my deen. It's my faith and my religion made me to be what I am. So he was very impressed with what he had seen. So I gave him a copy of the Quran in Spanish. A couple of weeks later, he came to me and he said he's ready to give Shahada. So Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Almighty Allah, we went to the masjid in Torrance. It was Mu'min Lodge. Dr. Hashimi was there. This is years ago. And he came there after the Jummah. The brother actually gave the Shahada. and he was crying like a baby, and people were hugging him, kissing him, and welcoming him to come into Islam. And he came to me, he says, I'm the happiest man in the world. He says, I'm so happy that I run into you, so I know what true Islam is. Because all I've been hearing is nothing but misinformation about Islam and the Muslims. So, making a long story short, by the grace of Allah, he continued to become a good Muslim, and he actually started learning about Islam and trying to go to the Spanish community and actually bring them to Islam by the grace of Allah. Going back to the subject of the mathematical discoveries of the Holy Quran, as I was mentioning to you, the word world or dunya has been mentioned in the Holy Quran 115 times. The word akhirah, the hereafter, has been also mentioned 115 times. Isn't that amazing? The word angel has been mentioned 88 times. And the word the devils or demons have also been mentioned 88 times. The word say has been mentioned 332 times in the Holy Quran, and the word said has also been mentioned 332 times. Isn't that amazing? All this information, kind of like a balance of an equilibrium Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for us. And all this information is just recently being surfaced. The other one is the word knowledge. Look at the emphasis of knowledge in the Holy Quran. The word knowledge has been mentioned 856 times. See the importance of gaining ilm, ilmuddin. It's extremely important that you seek as much knowledge as possible, because knowledge is a tool that you can use by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to defend your faith or to even reveal your faith to other people. Also, number 19 has a significance in the Holy Quran. I can't talk too much deep about it. It's a very, very deep subject. A whole book has been written about it. But I can only pretty much explain to you the Holy Quran, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you know, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim has 19 letters, with the last word mim and a bowing position. Even letters are bowing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you will. So, the Quran also explains that we have made number 19 as a sign for the people of the book to recognize that this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you look at chapter 19 in the Holy Quran, is Surah Maryam, which actually relates to the people of the book. So these information that is actually being found these days are extremely fascinating. And if I were you, I would probably look a little bit more into it and do more research. I'm only allowed to pretty much talk to you only about a few of these items so you can kind of grasp it and get an idea of what I'm talking about. Because the Holy Quran is full of these mathematical discoveries that science at this time is not able to explain. The Holy Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. صدق الله العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this beautiful surah, Alif Lam Mim. This is the book. In it, it's guidance without doubt to those who believe in Allah and who are mindful of Allah. Those who believe in the revelation sent to thee and in the revelation sent before thy time, and in their hearts they have the assurance of the hereafter. These are the ones who will prosper. These are the ones that are on true guidance from the Lord. As to those who reject faith, whether thou warn them or do not warn them, they will not believe. Allah has set a seal on their hearts and on their hearing, and on their eyes is a curtain of a veil, so they cannot see the truth. For them will be a grievous punishment because of what they believe. And among men are those who say, we believe in God in the last day, but they truly do not believe. Vain would they deceive God and the believers. They deceive themselves, but they realize it not. When it is said unto them, make not mischief on earth, they say, why? We only want to make peace. Of a surety, they are the ones who make mischief, but they realize it not. In their hearts is a disease, and Allah has increased their disease, and great penalty is what they incur because they're false to themselves. So my dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in this beautiful verse that I just mentioned, that humanity in this particular case is divided into three groups of people. Those who are the believers, those who are the unbelievers, and those who are the hypocrites. So let us all pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we want to be among the believing people and the believing folks by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم.